I'm alive. Nice. Anyway, um, sorry about that. Uh, I want. There's something that happened to my grandma, the or whatever. Uh, my Native American grandma Juanita, Grandma Curtis. That's what we call her. Grandma Curtis. That's my last. Anyway, she told me. Oh no, this is what happened. I have more stories about the Trail of Tears and shit, but this is fucking insane, you guys. Oh, by the way, whoever people keep like quitting and then I gain more subscribers and then they quit. I don't know, maybe that just happens. But if there's not something I'm doing right, or if there's something you think I should do better or different, or have any ideas, please shoot them because I wanna have a conversation. I wanna talk and compare notes and be friendly and have friends online because it is. I mean, I guess we got stuck. No flying cars, but we got the Jetson phones like we're doing here. Um, anyway, so hand to God, my mother's life. I swear on my mother's life, this went down like this. Listen, my grandma Curtis, my dad's mom, okay, she was very, you know, this is after my mom and dad got divorced and everything. This was later on. I was like maybe 25 or so, or a little bit younger, maybe 22 and 21. I don't know. My grandma would call me and my sister and my dad and my stepmom and everyone. She lived by herself, and my grandpa had passed away a couple years back. And she would be crying, and she'd be like, "How come no one ever comes to see me?" And I'm like, "Grandma, I'm working full time, and I said I'm running my business full time, and I'm in college. I have a full load. I had more than a full load. I had 16 credits. 12 is a full load. Um, so, yeah. So she said, well, I mean, she was just getting, her health was deteriorating because of the social uh, or lack thereof, which is happening to me. But anyway, she would call and cry, and I'd be like, Grandma, I'm so sorry. I don't have no way to get there. And later, she lent me the money for me to get a Jeep Cherokee. And then she's like, will you come see me all the time? I'm like, yep. And I did too. But she hired me to come there once a week. And it's like she paid me to hang out with her. I mean, that's kind of cool. But I mean, I did have my worker clean while I just sat and talked with my grandma. So it was worth. They were already paying a cleaning lady for more than I was even charging, and I did a good ass job. So it didn't. It was cool. It was perfect. My grandma wanted to do it. Because she knew I had to work. I had to have money to live, and she knew that. And she knew that I had to. I was in college, and that was busy, but and so that's what she did. She's like, that's so worth it for me. Money's nothing for me. Because I'll tell you why. Listen to this, you guys. Oh my God, this is so fucking cool. My grandpa died back before I think even 2000. Yeah, he died when I was little. My grandpa, yeah, I was only like maybe 10 or something when he died. I don't know. Anyway, my grandma from then on was just fucked up, right? Like, she just, yeah, I mean, that was her spouse. And he was a mailman and a veteran, and she worked for Hewlett Packard. Because it's funny, both my grandmas worked at Hewlett Packard and knew each other, but they didn't know they were going to be my grandmas. But it's right there in Loveland. That's why they work there. The plant is Loveland, Colorado. Loveland. Anyway, so my grandma, I'm sitting there talking to her, and she has narcolepsy. Now, I was full blown heroin addict at that time. And you know, I'd do a shot of heroin before we go into to clean the house. And I would be sitting there talking to my grandma, and she had narcolepsy, like I was saying. When she would go like this, she'd be talking to you like, that. She had that since she was 5. They gave her like Ritalin and Ambien, but she didn't like it. She just wanted to sleep. She's like me. I love sleep. I carried a blanket. I still carry a blanket. I want to lay down. Yeah, tired. I'm gonna lay the fuck down. Period. Feel me? Anyway, my grandma fell asleep on the toilet. Maybe my connection. It says it's unstable. I don't know why. I have full bar. Now it's back. Anyway, my grandma having narcolepsy. Me and her would talk perfectly and nod out, and then wake up and continue our conversation. So, someone with narcolepsy, when I was a junkie, was like the ultimate perfect person to talk to. Anyway, so my grandma lent me the money so I'd come see her. I needed it for my business. It really helped me to have my Cherokee with all the stuff in the box. Anyway, so I eventually. Oh, I know. Listen, you guys, holy shit, this is the whole point. So my grandfather died when I was 10, say, or so. So, 12 maybe. So say 84 or 86. Anyway, he died. My grandma called us all, boom, 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 come see me, I'm lonely, I'm lonely, I'm lonely. We all couldn't just do it. Everybody had jobs and school and work. Like even my dad's only sister, which has her other grandchildren, my cousins. Now, check this out. So my grandma, after a decade of being lonely and calling us and wanting us to come see her, which I don't blame her, and I wish I could have more, and I did, and because of the cleaning thing. But anyway, check this out, you guys. So, my grandma, I can't imagine my grandma being with somebody else other than my grandpa when I was little that I met. And he had emphysema from smoking, and he died from smoking cigarettes, just like my dad did. And I have emphysema too now. But I'm quitting. I don't really smoke very often anymore. So hopefully it'll go away or get better. Anyway, listen, you guys. So my grandma meets this fucking guy at church. Sorry, I'm just sorry. I don't mean to cuss you guys. So my grandma meets this guy at church, okay? His name's Delmer. He is the coolest guy ever. He owns a chain of mortuary. He did. He's dead now. He owned a chain of mortuaries. And he was a embalmer and shit. He He was what do they call him? Undertaker. He was an undertaker. But he owned a funeral parlor. Like he put makeup on them probably and fitted them for caskets. Things like that. It's nothing. When you're around dead bodies, if anyone hasn't been around them, I've had people with guts hanging out in my arms, like, and then they die, and then it's just a piece of meat, like I'm holding a big slice of cow or something, and there's nothing there. It's dead. There's nothing radiating from it. A dead body, even if it's not a wet kill, and his guts aren't coming out or blood, maybe it's just a heart attack, like or an overdose. A heart attack like Corey's, there was no blood, no nothing, you know? So you gotta think that's dry, a dry death. A wet death is gross. My friend Spider got shot right next to me on Skid Row back in the day, and he got killed. His brains landed in my mouth. Pieces of skull. I was spitting it out. Anyway, that's my grandma. My grandma was like, oh, never, I'm lonely and blah, blah, blah. So she met this guy at church. All of a sudden, this guy asked, his wife died around the same time my grandpa died. And they weren't sure about dating someone or being with someone after their husband or wife passed away. They just never thought about it. So anyway, they did though. He asked her on a date. They went on cruise. They got married. They ended up getting married. He was a millionaire, multi-millionaire from owning these chain of mortuaries and stuff. And he took her all around the world on cruises. She was a whole new person. Now listen to this. My grandma met him 10 years after my grandpa died. Okay? My grandma met him at church and did not know him before when she met him. She didn't know him when she was married to my grandpa already. Not even 10 years later after my grandpa died. They met at church and he took her out to dinner. Probably they went to Village Inn. That's the big thing. Anyway, listen to what I drew a little diagram with it so I didn't have to explain it. This is what happened. So they bought my grandpa and grandma had already bought their plots of land, right? Their 2 plots in the cemetery. Delmer and his wife had already bought their plots. They didn't know each other. About 15 years before, even then, they never knew each other. And but look, here's how it worked out. Here's Delmer's wife's plot, and then Delmer's plot. Then my grandma's plot. Then my grandpa's plot. So, Delmer and my grandma were next to each other. But Delmer, they were also next to their widowed spouse. Is that fucking crazy or what, you guys? They didn't know. And it's like a shot from God or from them saying, go ahead, please. Because after that, Delmer had all this money, but no one to spend it with. My grandma had just no one because she needed lots of attention and stuff. And so is that fucking like God saying do it, or their spouse or whatever saying it's okay, go ahead, and they got married, and they found this out, and it blew their fucking mind, just like it's blowing mine right now, thinking about it again. because they did not know each other. This was prior 10 years of ever even knowing. No one ever knew Delmer's wife. My grandpa never knew Delmer or his wife. My grandma never knew his wife or Delmer, but they went to the same church forever. And I don't know. Delmer, I guess, saw my grandma and hit her up on her. Right on Delmer. He still, after my grandma passed away, he still came to the family reunion. It was awesome. Like, I would always be like, Delmer, thank you, my brother, so much. Thank you. Because you saved my grandmother's her sanity. She was, and you made it so much. It helped all the phone calls stop immediately. Those all stopped immediately, and my grandma instead was saying, "Oh, I'm on." She sounded like she had a whole new lease on life. She did, and she was like, "Oh, we're in Alaska, it's beautiful. Oh, we're in Hawaii. Oh, we're in the Caribbean." I mean, he whisked her around the world first class, right? Probably got her another 10 years of her life. Just beautiful, beautiful story with a beautiful ending. And now they're together in heaven or whatever. You know, and it's awesome. I think it's beautiful. And beauty is. All right, guys. I'm gonna upload. I have a couple videos I put together, just patched together with some Mandela effects and stuff. Oh, I want to give you a free Mandela effect. If you stay with me this long, you get the free Mandela effect. You want to know what it is? You remember when kids, when you were a kid, you walked around in that plastic thing that had the tray on it, and it had wheels on it, and it went all the way around you, and you could walk around with cereal on that tray. And you know how it was, right? And they also made little jungle gyms and indoor things, and they were plastic. The company was called Little Tykes. Remember? Little. Little. Tykes. Tykes. Right? Huh. That's what I remember. Look at it. Love you guys.